It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You could find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting through my website, emailrevealer.com. Just reach me directly at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. Very excited about our guest today, Matthew Phelan. I've known Matthew Phelan for quite a time. You can find him on Twitter at CBMDP, and that stands for Comic Book Matthew Dominic Phalen. Phalen is with a P. Well, you know, that really didn't help it. But CBMDP. Okay. And his name on there is Sup with a question mark. Matthew Phelan at Big Sky. That's social. Hey, Matthew, I got to follow you on Big Sky, man. I'm on Big Sky, my man.
I'm trying to do my slow migration into, the Twitter diaspora.
That's a good idea. I'll put mine in there too as well, because I think I have like 2 followers on the Big Sky, which is the Jack Dorsey. Yeah, Jack Dorsey's new.
I don't think is it a Jack Dorsey? I have not the slightest clue. I know that Threads is the Facebook Meta attempt.
Right.
Mastodon is this cornball open source decentralized thing that it's full of nerds doing Robert's Rules of Order type stuff where it's
really?
simply
Well, we've already stumped Matthew Phelan about his Big Sky involvement there and Jack Dorsey. But before we get into the next topic,
I deny any knowledge.
Okay, you can take the fifth.
No
you can
comment.
take the fifth on the Opperman Report. It's been done before. We're going to be talking today about James O'Keefe and Project Veritas and all the scandal going on over there. But before we get to that, who is Matthew Phelan?
Oh, let's see. So I'm a former chemical engineer and now a journalist. My first job out of school was doing lithium-ion battery research and development for a DARPA contractor. It was a South Korean company, and I lost at ping pong every day at lunch until I left. And I've written for The Nation and Scientific American and Reuters Health, and back in the day, Gawker, rest in peace, and a handful of other places over the years. Quite a few of them about the topic of today's show.
So basically, an ex-DARPA-funded journalist who were Slate, New Republic, Gawker, and other topics. Okay. So Matthew Phelan.
Highly, nothing suspicious about that. Fan base of this program. Do not read into that too heavily.
Yeah, please. I got enough headaches, man. Okay. So Matthew Phelan, I know there's a lot of stuff in the news right now going on about James O'Keefe, who was such a character. This guy's been getting away with murder all this time. And what's that called again?
Project Veritas?
Yeah, Project Veritas, right. They get so much...
Latin for truth.
Right, and they get so much funding dumped on their head. They were getting funding from Cambridge Analytica, from what I understand. Where do you want to start? Who is James O'Keefe, or what was Project Veritas?
Let's see.
Let's start with O'Keefe.
Yeah, let's start with O'Keefe. O'Keefe is in a way a byproduct of the campus Republican machine. He was trained by a guy named Ben Wetmore, who worked at the Leadership Institute in the tricks of the trade for founding a noisy, annoying right-wing magazine on campus, which he did. It was called the Rutgers Centurion. My co-writer on a lot of these Project Veritas stories, Liz Farkas, was a very brief contributor to the Rutgers Centurion before she found God and moved on. And O'Keefe kind of he figured out a way to make YouTube work for far-right dirty tricksters. He quite famously, in his own mind especially, did this prank where he went to some bureaucrat at Rutgers University and told them that as an Irish American, he found the Lucky Charms cereal at the cafeteria offensive, and that it depicted Irish folks as diminutive, green-clad hucksters, etc. It's like a bit that would be very funny if Conan O'Brien had done it without some sort of like race grievance undertone.
Yeah.
And he continued to do those sorts of things after graduation. In fact, taking a job at the Leadership Institute, training other campus conservatives in the tactics of engaging in that kind of bullshit.
Watch your language. Let me ask a quick question, right?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Now, one of the first things I recall about Project Veritas was that operation they pulled against ACORN in Las Vegas. Now, at that time, before they were targeted by Project Veritas with undercover video operatives entering in there and dealing with these low-level volunteers and really nobodies, ACORN was the only organization that would show up at the Nevada Power Energy Commission meetings and protest the raise in rate hikes, and especially for the elderly. And they had all these things put into place. Now, so before Warren Buffett could go in there and buy Nevada Energy, they had to get rid of ACORN. Any indications that O'Keefe and Project Veritas at that time was funded through Warren Buffett or a shell company, Buffett Front?
Well, the first major scoop that Liz and I had on O'Keefe was related to how the ACORN videos were funded. And essentially what happened there is O'Keefe and Hannah Giles did the East Coast videos on spec. They went to Baltimore, D.C., and possibly New York, I think, and had packaged some of those and started shopping them around. And when Andrew Breitbart saw them, formerly a guy who worked for Matt Drudge and then created Breitbart.com, and he launched his sort of big government blog on the back of the success of these ACORN hidden camera stings. He put up money for both O'Keefe and Hannah Giles' life rights and future work product, and funded their West Coast hidden camera airsats, quote-unquote, investigations in the California offices and elsewhere.
Gotcha.
And so that was about, I think O'Keefe got $60K, and Hannah Giles was promised some money and made less money, partially because she kind of stopped wasting her time and started doing other stuff. She made $32K all told from Andrew Breitbart during that period.
Really?
O'Keefe made 65.
Peanuts,
65K.
yeah, peanuts when you consider, taking down ACORN, right?
Yeah, I mean, they effectively dissolved that, nationwide network of community organizing groups that did great get out the vote efforts, and underprivileged communities probably registered, millions of people to vote who were having trouble figuring out because they have busy lives and were struggling. That specific kind of investigation has been like a perennial moneymaker and focus for Project Veritas, finding ways to disenfranchise people from the working class and lower who have a slightly, persnickety or inconvenient tendency to vote for Democratic Party politicians.
No, what about, just from memory, there was another incident where they went into a representative's office and tried to, they call themselves phone repairmen, which is as sloppy as you can get, and with no consequences.
some consequences. So this was in early 2010, just high on the wave of the success of the ACORN stings. O'Keefe and some Confederates, including a guy named Joe Basil, who went on to marry Hannah Giles, Stan Dye, and some other folks. They infiltrated the offices of Louisiana Senator Mary Landrieu. And two of them were dressed as telephone repairmen. O'Keefe was posing as a constituent or as himself and trying to secretly tape his friends. And the kind of ironic thing about this is that it was a perfect circle of conservative misinformation. What O'Keefe and everyone involved was trying to do was produce a stunt based on the claim that conservatives in Louisiana were trying to call Senator Landrieu to complain about her support of Obamacare and voting for the passage of the AMA. And the reason that those constituents, if they were having trouble reaching Senator Mary Landrieu, is that another conservative group had put her phone number everywhere and was saying, melt the phone lines. That was like the ad and the push on these other conservative blogs. So O'Keefe was simply proving in a way that these other conservatives had successfully astroturfed the phone lines. But his expectation was to go in there proving that they were ignoring the constituents because they ignore conservatives.
Well, let me ask you a question, though, because wiretapping is pretty serious charges. Why would they risk those kind of criminal charges in such a sloppy operation over such a minor win?
What's the quote from All the President's Men? You got to understand that these are not very bright guys. Things got out of hand.
Okay.
But
I thought the quote was Modine is available tonight. Okay, good.
That's another one.
I cracked myself up. Go ahead.
That's the Jim Hogan Secret Agenda version, or like the Let's see.
Where were we?
The federal charges were officially entering like a federal building under false pretenses.
Oh, really?
And O'Keefe pled down to a misdemeanor, and he was put on a very unique kind of probation where he was not allowed to leave the state of New Jersey without permission for 3 years. Okay. And he had some like community service and some other stuff. So he was grounded. He was grounded by court order, and he lived with his parents for 3 years in Westwood, New Jersey. And
Westwood, New Jersey. Okay, but now I'm curious too. But do we know if he did leave? Because it's very simple to get permission from your PO to leave, right?
Yeah, he would routinely request it because he was still raising money for Project Veritas, and he was operating Project Veritas out of a remodeled antique carriage house in his parents' property somewhere.
And this bunch with this black bag job with the wiretap, and one of their relatives was like a federal judge or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember that kid's name because he did not stick around in the operation, but perhaps it will come to me.
Well, but either way, this is all early on stuff. Now what about when I heard that Cambridge Analytica was dropping tons of money on top of Project Veritas? Were you able to confirm that, or am I off base on that?
Bannon was involved.
Okay,
at the very least.
Yeah.
There's a phase in 2016 where James O'Keefe partners with former Blackwater CEO Eric Prince to start training their undercover operatives in a wider array of intelligence tradecraft for infiltrating such nefarious groups as teachers unions,